Iran continues to fire missiles towards Israel. Bradley Blackburn is joining us live now from the newsroom with the latest details on all of this. Bradley?
Doug, Elaine, this morning there are more reports of strikes in Iran and Israel. Iran, as you said, Doug, is warning it could take aim at U.S. military bases and ships if they try to stop Iran's missiles. And today, Israel's defense minister did have that declaration that if Iran's counterattack continues, quote, Tehran will burn.
Overnight explosions lit up the sky over Tel Aviv as Iran launched another counterattack. The Israeli military urged civilians to take shelter as they intercepted the strikes with the Iron Dome system. The U.S. is assisting in the defense, but some weapons slipped through. The IDF said dozens of people have been injured, some seriously, and there are reports of some deaths. Dozens of sites have been targeted. At daybreak, first responders assess the damage. The intensifying conflict has the world worried about an all-out war. It ignited Friday when Israel attacked Iran's nuclear sites. Iran claimed hundreds were injured and at least 78 people were killed, including some top officials. Israel's attack had been in the works for months. Israeli media reports Israel's intelligence service, the Mossad, built a drone base inside Iran for the assault. This video released by Mossad showing Israeli soldiers on Iranian soil.
I do think what they're trying to do is to further illustrate how the Iranian regime has lost control of their country.
Crowds gathered in Tehran Saturday chanting death to Israel and death to America. Iran's supreme leader has vowed revenge, while Israel's prime minister appealed to the Iranian people.
We're also clearing the path for you to achieve your objective, which is freedom.
The U.S. says it is assisting with Israel's defense, but was not involved in the attack, insisting Israel took unilateral action against Iran.
President Trump does say he knew the attack was in the works, but he had publicly been appealing to Israel to hold off to let nuclear negotiations with Iran continue. The White House claims that talks scheduled for tomorrow are still on, despite the conflict. Elaine, Doug?
Bradley Blackburn live for us from the newsroom. Bradley, thank you. Meanwhile, here in the city, the NYPD is increasing security at some synagogues as volunteer paramedics and doctors from New York try to make their way to Tel Aviv. A volunteer rescue group shared the devastating video from central Israel as workers there search through rubble. The group's president is stuck in New York because Israeli airspace is closed.
How bad is it over there right now?
Iran is attacking the centers of Israel. It's not easy to see this. Entire buildings are destroyed from these hypersonic missiles that are launched towards Israel.
And now the NYPD is increasing security at Jewish cultural centers. We saw police stationed outside the Central Synagogue in Midtown. Some Jewish New Yorkers said they were skeptical of Israel's actions, while Iranian Americans we spoke with largely blamed leadership in Tehran.
My family are Baha'is, so they've been persecuting the Baha'is for a very, very long time. Nobody likes war, but hopefully this will open up some doors to some change.
I question it. I understand why they're doing it. If Iran had not been as belligerent with Israel, this would not have happened.
Speak with Bernard Smith, our correspondent in the Jordanian capital, Amman. Bernard.
Yes.
Bernard, can you hear me? Bernard Smith.
We just saw we just saw the end of one of the missiles, sort of heading towards the southern bit of Israel, passing over the top of Amman as they do sometimes, although there was no alert over the city this time. Again, this is similar to Saturday. This is now, very early hours of Monday morning here. Though this is sort of a similar pattern, if you like, to overnight Saturday into Sunday, in which there were two separate waves in the overnight hours. The video you're seeing, yes, other targets hit across, other areas targeted across Israel. The Israeli military said that they put out sirens from about 4:10 local time, about sort of 10 minutes ago. The sirens first went off. They said the public is instructed to follow the instructions, request to follow the instructions of the Home Command. Also, it said the IDF emphasised not to publish and share the locations and footage of any of the hits. Israel says that about more than 200 odd missiles since Friday have come from Iran, been fired by Iran to Israel. Most of them get intercepted by either the Israeli Air Force before they hit Israeli territory, or some by the Jordanian Air Force, or others by Israel's Iron Dome protective system. But clearly, as we see from the videos, one or two, a few get through. Sometimes they're publicized because they land, as we've seen video from in the daytime aftermath of these hits. They cause devastation to some residential areas, and there have been casualties, 14 people killed in Israel since the first missiles were launched. But there is military censorship in Israel, as there is in many countries during times of war, because you're not allowed to publish if missiles hit on what might be deemed strategically sensitive or military sensitive sites. So we don't know exactly how many missiles get through, except that the Israelis say most of them are intercepted, but obviously some do get through.
And we're seeing pictures on our stream, live pictures of Haifa in Israel, where energy infrastructure has been hit. We're seeing at least, well, there seems to be at least 2 chimneys there in terms of that energy infrastructure that are on fire. We're seeing those blazes now after those missiles were launched, reportedly from Iran, into Haifa, Israel, as well as other areas in Israel, including Jerusalem and Tel Aviv. And it seems that the energy infrastructure is what has been targeted there. So not all of those missiles were intercepted by Israel's defence systems. Bernard, do we know any more detail about what exactly has been hit there? As I mentioned, we seem to be seeing on fire chimneys there, and as has been happening in the last 2 days, those infrastructure targets are what Iran has been going for.
Well, I guess some of the targets that Iran will be seeking out are in reflection of the targets that the Israelis have sought out in Iran. Israel has said that it has been striking, particularly today, it says, to degrade the Iranian regime's weapons production capabilities. It says it's been targeting the infrastructure of Quds forces, the IRGC, Iranian military in Tehran, and numerous weapons production sites across Iran. And it has been striking today, it says, surface-to-surface missile sites. Well, the Iranians say they are also targeting now in response. This has earlier been commented on, energy infrastructure of Israel. It's obviously Israel is a much smaller country and more densely populated, and Haifa is a strategically important port city where there is a refinery. And so if the Iranians are targeting energy infrastructure, then this would be a key target for them.
Yes, as you mentioned there, Bernard, it is a port city, Haifa, and we are seeing latest pictures now of more missiles being launched into the sky. Israel's defence systems intercepting many of those there. This is the 3rd day of this escalation and what many analysts have been calling this tit for tat in terms of attacks between Iran and Israel. Israel has also indicated that this could continue for the next 2 weeks, and Iran saying today that they will give a powerful response. The Iranian president saying we will give a powerful response to any aggression that Israel may commit. And here it seems that they are standing by their word with this latest barrage of missiles targeting energy infrastructure. That seems to be the latest of what we know at the moment, Bernard, that these 3 areas of Israel have been targeted. Haifa, the port city, strategically important north of the capital, Tel Aviv, and then Jerusalem as well being targeted.